All right, boys.
You got two rooms in here?
No, it's just one room. I think we're going here though, boys. But yeah, this is the whole setup here. Me and him are gonna we've when you start a company, you gotta sacrifice some dollars, so we squeeze in. We got a third guy coming on the couch here. But anyways, John Sim, thank you very much for coming on the podcast, man. We appreciate your time here. We know you're probably a busy guy this time of year with scouting and whatever you do in the hockey world. So thanks for taking the time out and coming on the podcast. Thanks.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks, guys. I've heard a lot about you. I've seen you a lot, so it's good to sit down with you guys.
Nice. How is it just to be up here in Wolfville and watch some top tier hockey, I guess, in Nova Scotia, where I guess it's been on and off the past couple of years. So it's nice just to see some, like I said, top tier hockey here in Nova Scotia.
It's fantastic to finally get this event in. They've been struggling to get it in. Unfortunately, it wasn't in Halifax. They got to bring it down to Wolfville here.
Yeah.
Both my brother played here at Acadia for the X-Men.
Oh, no way.
As well as my brother-in-law. So I've had some connections down here, did some fundraising things down here for Acadia. Kevin Dickey, a good buddy of mine. So it's great to be down here.
Wicked. So what was it like growing up in New Glasgow?
That was good. It's a very small town. Everyone knows everybody. We played hockey. Colin White and myself grew up together playing with each other. So we got a lot of memories back home. It's great to see Pictou County back on the map with some good players coming through, good teams. But home's home. I was gone for 20 years and came home, and that's where I make my my living now. That's where I am.
Was there ever any? Oh, sorry, you got
No, go ahead.
Was there anyone like before you? They're like, oh, like I kind of want to be like that guy in the NHL, like that came out of Pictou, New Glasgow area. You're like, oh, I want to take the same route as him.
In Pictou, not really. I mean, we had guys like Mike McPhee that was from Cape Breton, things like that kind of. I was a big Montreal Canadian fan growing up, and Mike was there, and then so I kind of got to follow Mike McPhee a little bit, and then Colin and I it was just kind of happened. We both kind of really ended up getting lucky and went on to have great careers.
Same school, anything like that? Like, are you guys the same age, you and Colin?
Exact same age.
Same school?
Same school. Not elementary, but like high school.
Yeah.
Junior high. We were in the same schools, but they never put us in the same class. They were smarter than that.
I was just going to say, you don't think that wasn't by design?
Yeah, there's no way these two guys can.
The two hockey guys.
Yeah, exactly. So it was actually Derek Walser as well. Derek Walser was another guy that grew up with us playing together, and we had some really good teams.
No way.
The thing for me, too, is you say you had those guys before you, and that was a great question, too, because in our era, our generation, my old man he's from New Glasgow as well. So he would always say, the John Sims and the Colin Whites and stuff like that, like to almost represent that you can pull it off. So that was a good question for that, because you guys were the first couple people that we really seen that, because you're from Nova Scotia and we're in the media era now, it's a little bit easier to get seen, right? But back then it was such a crazy thing. So to see these guys from Nova Scotia go on and play, you start to feel like, okay, maybe I can do this. And I for me personally, growing up with those names, I mean, not that I made the NHL, but there was that little bit in your brain going, this is possible.
Did you feel like a trailblazer a little bit?
Not really. I think you live the moment.
Yeah.
You're kind of going through it, and everything just it happens so fast, and it goes by quick too. You don't really think of yourself as a role model, but obviously when you play in the NHL, you are a role model. But you don't know the extent that you're going to leave.
Keep the mic a bit closer.
To go through it, right? So, I think Sidney Crosby looked up to us too, right? So
yeah, oh yeah.
No, I'm
but
just
that's
kidding.
the thing,
You got to play against them too. Did you ever give them a little like, hey, you're here because of me type thing?
You remember me growing up, right?
Yeah.
So, no.
Right.
No, but I mean, it's great, and now I'm back home. I'm running hockey schools. I'm part of the Atlantic Hockey Group. We deal with 250 teams over the Atlantic Canada. So to be able to give back to hockey and to be a part and to bring kids along, it's great. I love it.
At what age was it? Like I remember watching like a Terry Ryan documentary over in Newfoundland, and he had to leave and go get scouted places. Was that the same mentality here in Nova Scotia back then? It's like, you got to go to Ontario, you got to go to Quebec. Was that mentality around back then?
I think Colin and I were probably, like you say, we were the first ones that some guys that left came home.
Yeah.
We left. Unfortunately, we went to Laval together.
Yeah.
It didn't work out very well. I got waived through the league, ended up going to Sarnia, Ontario, and Colin ended up in Hull. And the move was great for both of us. It was just we needed to be apart again.
Looks cool.
And but when I got to Sarnia, it was night and day. And then I went through my first year, and then my second year I got off to a hot start, and then I was like, okay, maybe you should get an agent. I was like, an agent, So it was kind of like it was all so real. It all happened so fast, and it was a great experience. And it kind of like we didn't really know a whole lot about what was going on, and the next thing you know, here we are, 4 years later, we're playing in the Stanley Cup Finals against each other.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. We always go home together, we work out together, we train together. Our kids are good buddies. It's so.
No, your kids are buddies. Oh, that's the best.
Yeah,
That's almost a dream. You
Yeah,
know?
that's the dream.
And you growing up, if you would have said, when you guys were 12, oh, you guys are both going to be playing in the NHL final, your buddies are going to be friends, you'd been sitting there going, what are you talking about,
Oh, big time. And plus, we've made tons of other friends along the way, but, Colin and I have always been come home and try to help each other out for sure. And then when I was playing in New York and Colin was in New Jersey, we went on trips together. We went to All-Star breaks together. We do Olympic breaks together. So it was a lot of fun.
That's got to be really cool, though, man, to have like one of your really good best friends along with you for everything.
You can call him maybe a brother almost. Like it sounds like it.
Well, I think what it did for Colin and I is it pushed each other.
Yeah,
true.
Like if I was doing well, Colin wanted to do well. If Colin was doing well, which he had a great career, I was chasing. Like, hey, I don't want this to end, right? So we really pushed each other in that way. We come home in the summer. He was a big, tall, lanky guy that he didn't need a lot of plyometrics. He didn't like doing it, but I loved doing it because, I was good at it.
Yeah.
So it pushed him that way, and he wanted heavier weights, and so I would say, oh, geez, okay, here we go. So we kind of played off each other in the summer, too, which really helped.
Any sorry,
No, go ahead.
Any dinner battles? Like, no, I got the bill. Anything like
We
that?
always give it to him. He always made more than me, so he could always pay for those.
That's great.
Oh, man.
Where was the draft year in 96? Where was it?
96 was in St. Louis.
St. Louis. So did you made the trip there?
We made the trip there.
Yeah.
Colin was there as well. I got drafted. What was I?
Third
round.
70th overall.
70th. Yeah, 70th. You're right.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I think how many teams. Yeah. So I was 70th, and
yeah.
Dallas Stars, and it was awesome. It was. Then your path's kind of made here, and it's what you make out of it, though, right? Like, hey, a lot of guys get drafted, don't play, and I get drafted to a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dallas back in the day. You got Medano back there. Like who were like? I just think back then. I think of Dallas. I think of Detroit. I think of Colorado. I think of Buffalo.
Yeah.
I think of
New Jersey.
Yeah,
New Jersey.
Yeah. Those are wars. Those guys were so good. In Dallas we had Zubov, Ludwig, Hatcher, Sador. There's our top four. That it's great. You had Medano, Nieuwendyk, Langenberner, Hall, Lettinen.
See, these are all legends of our
Legends.
generation, right? Like,
So what's your mindset going into camp?
My first camp after 96 when we got drafted was like they had a lot of guys because Bob Gainey was the general manager. So they actually had a lot of guys that were from Montreal. So they had Brian Strudlin. They had Mike McPhee I think he was there but left. And Craig Ludwig and it was kind of cool. So I'm going into this first camp with all these ex-Montreal guys and I'm going, holy, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is really cool. And we were up in like Vail, Colorado or something. And I was like, all right, I'm getting in the shower with these guys. It's just one of those like, hey, talk to these guys.
Oh, man.
It was pretty cool. Like for me, like to be with the guys that I watched and won Stanley Cups in Montreal was pretty cool.
Oh man, you must have been a sponge.
I was a sponge, and I was like they just please just shut up, please stop. I was I had lots of energy. I always wanted to be around. I love listening to their stories. That's one thing. Like when those older guys talk about stories, it's the coolest.
you listen.
You listen.
Yeah, and you want to.
You want to.
Right, that's the difference.
You're interested in their stories because they're funny and they're awesome.
So what was their reception like of like a small, probably back then they probably didn't even know where Nova Scotia was, and let alone New Glasgow, right?
Yeah, it was, once you're in the hockey world, you're in the dressing room, you're part of the team.
That's right.
Right? Hey, you might be a small town
You're
guy.
from here.
Yeah, you're a small town guy, but you're part of the team, you're part of the group, and you just kind of move on and away you go.
What was a welcome to the NHL moment?
Well, my first game I got called up 2000, and I walked in the locker room. We were in Nashville, and I get in the night before. Daryl Sador was my roommate, and I walked into the locker room. It was a 5:00 game, and on the board, like they always had the lineup up.
Yeah.
And it was Hull, Medano, Sim. And I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a lot of fun. You start getting nervous right away,
Oh, yeah,
right?
made me nervous.
You got two Hall of Famers, two unbelievable hockey players that it didn't last long now. This was one game, and this is when Nashville was a young team, so they were,
Expansion.
they were coming into the league, and so they weren't as good as they are now, obviously. But I got to play with those guys, had a couple good scoring chances, but that was pretty cool.
Wow.
So like what? Okay, so now it makes me think. Like, what's your mindset going in playing with Brett Holm? Like, are you obviously thinking get them the puck?
Or are you thinking just
first
get off?
on the puck? Or are you thinking just get it out and don't make a mistake?
Those guys are they were always such good guys, and they always like just play your game, right?
What got you here?
It's hard playing with superstars because you feel like you have to get them the puck and do this, and so I was just excited to be out there, and every shift, as soon as you jump on the ice, it's like a shot of adrenaline, right? You just boom, you go, and it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool experience.
I got to bring up the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And I think of the foot in the crease. I think of
Donna Cash.
I just think of sitting in my living room watching that and almost falling in love with hockey. Like, I think of the rivalries of Detroit and Colorado, and oddly enough, I just think of that series of Buffalo and in Dallas. Being a part of that team, I guess just talk about that. You played a high level of junior. You've been through some things, but Stanley Cup final, they're not. A good portion of people that play hockey will never ever get to go through that. What was it like?
Yeah, no, it was really cool. I mean, like, I'm 20 years old, and you're coming into the league, and I didn't play a whole lot that whole playoffs. I played 4 games, but I was in every warm up. So I was around the team. I think because I had so much energy and just kind of being around. We had an older team, but what you learn from a playoff run like that, guys battling through injuries and putting everything on the line and just listening about playing defense and the structure and everything, you just learn so much. And I think just that run alone helped me play for 15 years.
Definitely.
Right? Just little things. And,
Yeah.
You think you know everything then, but you don't know anything. As your career goes on, you look back at these moments, and you're just like, okay, and now I know what Ken Hitchcock was talking about.
Yeah.
So, and I was lucky enough the year of the lockout in 2005, I went back and I played for Philadelphia for their Phantom team, and we won a Calder Cup.
Yeah.
And you took those experiences that we, just being around the locker room, and you took it to guys like Jeff Carter and Mike Richards and Patrick Sharp and these guys, and now they're learning from you a little bit, and they go on to win 3-4 Stanley Cups. And,
I never thought of that.
Sense of pride,
it's just kind of, so what I learned from Guy Carbonneau and Mike Keane and Brian Scrutland, just listening to them in the locker room, you can pass it on to other guys. So just the experience is great. And now you're coaching, and it's the same thing.
Can you give us a little example of something you learned from that Stanley Cup final? Just a little example, and maybe about travel, maybe just about something about a suit, like a hydration thing, like a little trick, like just something that you really took in. You're like, wow, that's pro, that's all pro right there.
Well, you look at a guy like Guy Carbonneau or even Mike Keane, like these guys put their bodies through torture, and they always took hot tubs, they always cold tubs after the game. They took care of their bodies, and that's what you had to do to survive. They're out there blocking shots, diving, and remember Guy Carbonneau?
Yeah,
he'd block a Mack truck if it was coming
his face,
the net, right?
Yeah.
So, just little things like that, and just being prepared to play, like every game, getting yourself up to the highest standard possible to play a game.
So what did you think were a couple things that got you to that next level? Like, was there some pregame preparations that you really did? Like, some people like to look themselves in the mirror and give themselves a tap. Like, that's more the fighter guys, right? But anything in particular that you can remember that really just got you going?
Just the game. I love the
game.
Yeah. The warm-up's probably packed.
Warm-up. I mean, there's just 18,000 people in the rink for warm-ups, And for me, I love the game of hockey. I love playing. I wasn't the best. I wasn't the worst. I love playing. I love the intensity. That's one thing. Intensity and work ethic. I always brought that, and that's what made me survive in the league.
Awesome.
It's funny that the hard work kind of thing is almost like, because you do a little reading, and I watch hockey growing up, but it's almost like you're like a pest because you work hard. But I feel like after watching, your young boys play a little bit too, that's almost instilled in them. It's just kind of like, it's almost like you're the brand of the same name. You know what I mean?
Well, work ethic's everything.
It is, yeah.
I believe in life, work ethic, right? I mean, you guys are doing a great job here. You're working hard at it. It's in hockey, you get by with work. If you can work your absolute hardest, then your skill will take over, and that'll really help you. But work is the most important thing.
Yeah,
so is that 100%. What you instill in like your players, or you try to anyways, I guess? Like, is that the main component?
I try to. I mean, I'm lucky enough at times where we have some skilled players, and if our team outworks the other team, the skill will take over.
For sure.
It's always the old saying.
The cliche, yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, this hard work will beat skill if skill doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I believe in hard work, and I'm gonna stick with it.
Awesome.
It's a different thing too, that when you have like, a coach like yourself who actually, we could go watch you work hard. We could. They're like videos and stuff like that. But when you have someone who has that credibility and it's like, okay, he's not just telling me to work hard because he thinks that's the right thing. Yeah. This guy's actually gone through all this. He worked to get there because, like you said, you weren't the best, but you weren't the worst, but you still had to work your ass off to get there.
You're never going to ask someone to do something you haven't done yourself type thing.
Exactly.
It's like that must feel good just to have that reputation. It's like, no, I worked my ass off to be where I am. I'm going to tell you to do it, and you can have success just like me.
Yeah,
it's a good feeling.
Exactly. And all kids, all skill level kids, right? Like you'll have success if you work hard.
I want to go back to the NHL really quick. This question could be way off. I hope I'm not. But when you were in Philly the first year after, I think you were in Pittsburgh a couple years before. Then you were in Philly, 2004, 2005.
06, 07
No.
in Philly after the lockout, 05.
That was Crosby's first year.
Yeah.
So I was listening to Crosby's Audible book, and they were talking about that first game in Philly. Were you playing in that game? You were playing that. Okay.
I remember Hatch, Darian. He was all over Sid. Like he gave it to Sid pretty good a few times.
Yeah.
But you could see Sid was going to be amazing. His career was just getting started. It was
like his 20th game in the NHL or something. Like it wasn't that into it.
He was unbelievable.
Wow. What was the game plan going into the room? Because listening to the Audible book, they were saying like, Philly, it's Philly. You don't have to. It's Philly and Philly,
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's a huge rivalry, and Sid was coming in. There was a lot of hype on Sid, and it was a rivalry. And
But what was the topic of conversation in the Philly room before the game though? Is what?
Watch this little bit.
You don't focus on one player so much.
Okay.
As maybe Connor McDavid, you probably do, but where the guy's at. Like, hey, you got to play this guy hard. He's young, and we had some big D. Like Hatch is 6'4" guys. Like this guy is a beast, right? And he's chasing Sid around. Sid did a pretty good job.
Knocked his teeth out.
Oh yeah,
he knocked his teeth out.
I think it was the second period. He got him pretty good. He nailed him pretty good. Stick up, and Hatch don't care. He was like.
Yeah, he strikes me as a guy that didn't really care too much.
No, he didn't care about a whole lot.
Which is good. A good.
He was
good quality in a teammate.
He was a great captain. He was our captain in Dallas, and he was a good captain.
You weren't going in his corner.
Yeah, oh yeah. But I'm sure Sid probably was like, okay, this is first real big test against a premier D like Darian.
Yeah,
and he was a man at that point too, right? Where Sid's a kid. There's a big
18.
difference.
He's 18.
That's what I mean. There's a big difference.
I think he said at one time that was his welcome to the NHL moment. Was that game? Something like that. It was like, that's my welcome to the NHL moment.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy.
That's awesome.
Playing coast to coast. You played in LA. You played in New York. What's the different experience about playing in the NHL? I think of weather, oddly enough. I go LA, okay, you can get your mind off hockey and maybe, relax a bit. I think of New York. I think of great travel because you got all the teams, like a 20-minute bus ride, it seems like, from you, not like 20-minute flight. What was your experience on coast to coast?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question, actually. I started in Dallas. The travel was really tough. Like
you're in the middle of
America. I didn't get to play in Canada, which would have been really cool. But then you go out to LA and you make a trip out to Detroit. And you have to fly back afterwards. It's like a 5-hour flight. It's long. Then you get transferred out to the East Coast and played down in Atlanta too. Atlanta was.
Oh yeah.
Atlanta was. We actually had a really good team when we were in Atlanta. We had Marian Hossa, Kovalchuk. Like we had stars, and we finished first in the conference that year. Travel was okay. Then you go up to New York, and you're right. Like you're busing to some cities.
New Jersey's right there. You're
taking a train into the city to play the Rangers. You're taking a bus to Philly. You're taking a bus to Jersey. You're home before 11:30, 12 o'clock every night.
It's the best.
You go straight home.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean, that actually, I think it helped me near the end of my career because you're getting more sleep, you're rested.
Really? You think it helped you that much?
I do. Yeah, I really do. I think just getting home and being able to be home. I had kids. It really was I enjoyed it.
Well,
love New York.
Yeah, so you love the East Coast more a little bit. And you're from here.
And I'm from here.
Family.
People could drive down.
Yeah.
Right? People jump on a quick flight to LaGuardia or JFK.
Yeah.
So we had a lot more visitors, good or bad.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed New York. It was great.
How could you not really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But at the same time, like, was there like a pressure there? Like when you, because I think in LA you could probably go out in the streets unless you're Gretzky.
Yeah, they don't know.
Kind of blend in type thing because there's so many other things going on. But you go to a place like New York, I assume, or like any smaller.
Islanders fans are religious.
Like,
it seems
yeah,
like.
you say
you know what I'm saying.
Remember in LA, like we'd always go out. My wife and I would walk around and we'd look for celebrities and Tiger Woods and you see all these people. It's really cool. But then you go to New York, and it's actually Islander fans are great.
I've heard that.
Islander fans are legit.
Loyal.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
Oh, it's a small little community, not community.
Nassau or
No,
But
so,
it's crazy. Like, they love their fans or
Yeah.
their hockey guys.
Yeah.
Love it.
100%.
And I lived about 10 minutes from the Coliseum.
Oh yeah.
So
How far is the airport from your house?
I mean, touch and go, half hour. But
Where'd you fly from? What was the airport?
either JFK or LaGuardia.
Okay.
But I'd always drive back and forth to home here.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Islander fans were great. And then we actually had John Tavares we drafted Johnny.
Yep.
I think Johnny and I played for 2 years together.
Wicked.
Yeah, so it was he came in and he's a good player.
Did he have that leader stature to him already, or was he still kind of like, because there's some young guys that come in and you can feel that, or you can from the outside looking in, you can go, wow, he's leading right now, or is he just kind of taking it easy?
Yeah, Johnny came in I felt like he had so much pressure on him.
Yeah.
He wanted to be just like Sid and
Savior.
come in and dominate, and our team wasn't probably as good as the Pittsburgh Penguins were, but he came in, found his way early, struggled a little bit, and then he took off after that. And he's a great player. He still is.
Yeah.
And the one thing about Johnny, he's a great guy. He's a great person.
Yeah, you see a lot. Now we're in the days where you get to see things that they do behind the scenes and stuff like that, which is really good because a lot of people forget that NHL players are human, right?
Yeah.
That's what the big people always forget that. So now you get to see things, and I'm a Leafs fan, so obviously I like Johnny, and just seeing the stuff in the back of the, behind the scenes and stuff that he does in the community. It goes a long way to put that out there.
Oh yeah, Johnny's a great guy. And then his first game when he left the Isles and he went back to.
Yeah, they booed him.
Oh, they booed him hard.
They still do.
Oh yeah, they
Like
still do.
that. So that proves to you how
Loyal
into it the
Isles
fans
fans
are.
are.
Yeah.
100%. I met him once in Halifax when he was here skating with Sid. He stayed at the hotel that I worked at, and he was in the lobby for like 10 minutes waiting for the other boys to come down. And I remember I don't think he really wanted to talk to me, but he gave me the time of day. And we were just talking there for like 10 minutes. I was picking his brain on everything, and he's like, yeah, whatever. I'll answer anything you want to know.
Oh yeah.
And he gave me the time of day is what I'm trying to say, which
Yeah,
I
most
enjoy.
guys, most NHL players are like that. They're pretty good.
Yeah, especially when they come to a small town. They know, no NHL city in Halifax. Sure,
Yeah.
he's cool.
I mean, it's great. I mean, like for myself, like just to be able to do this, and it brings you back, and it's awesome.
100%. Playing over in Germany.
Yeah.
Where you won a championship, no big deal. Eh?
Won a championship there. It was actually hilarious. Like we won. We were down 2-1 in the series, and we went into oh my god, I forget the little city that we were playing, and we were down like 5 goals with like 8 minutes left. And between the benches in Europe, you know how they bring out both teams leave, so they brought out the trophy. And like, so our bench is here, their bench is
Oh, it's
here.
like the Bell Center kind of thing. Yeah.
Our team goes this way, their team goes this way.
Okay.
So they brought out the trophy. 8 minutes left. We're like,
Oh my god.
we go, hold on here. The next thing you know, our team we start scoring goals. We make it like 6-2, 6-3, 6-4, 6-5.
And you're like, oh, well.
6-6. We tie it up in their building. 6-6. We tie it up. We go to overtime. We win in overtime. The trophy's right here. It's hilarious. So then we go back to Berlin.
It's
and
amazing.
then like, I think it's the next night or 2 nights later we play. We beat them like 2-1, 3-1, and it was a great time.
Wow.
Those guys know how to party over there.
Can you imagine bringing they brought
they
the
brought the
trophy
trophy
out?
out.
I would have been livid.
But what does that say about the character in your guys' room? Like, if we're
Yeah.
gonna go hockey
Was
sense
there a
here,
lot of like Canadians, Americans over
We
there?
had a lot of Canadians there. Guys like Barry Tackleson. The names were pretty neat that we played with, but they won before, so like they knew how to win. They knew how to stay with it.
That helps.
And this kind of was a little bit of a little ignite, right? So they brought it out, and we came storming back. It was great.
do you
Wow.
remember? Did you score the overtime winner?
No, I didn't.
Do you remember who did?
Oh, geez, I think we had twins on the team.
No
I think it was
way.
one of the twins. Tyson
We had
something.
twins on the team.
Man, your memory's pretty good though.
Oh,
Like
I'm
you've been,
trying. I play with
you've
a
been.
lot of
That's what
team
I was
guys.
gonna say. And like when you play with guys, it's a nickname basis a lot of the time,
Yeah.
right? So full names you miss them, right?
It was
Sometimes.
it was a good group of guys, though. They were a lot of fun. I think our locker room afterwards had like this much. The floor had that much beer on it.
Love
it. It was like you could swim in it. It was great.
Germany though.
Oh, Germany.
We
Oh,
got a
yeah.
couple Nova Scotians now that are playing over. Who's on the ball? Jim Midgley. Well, he was coaching in Germany for a bit, and he was talking about like Oktoberfest and how a lot of guys, even if they're not playing in Germany, they'll go to Germany for this Oktoberfest. Munich, yeah.
Oh, Oh, yeah.
And I remember he said he showed up there once, and the next thing you know, he looked to his right, looked to his left, and he could count like 10 Nova Scotians just at this one Oktoberfest. And he said that Germany was just a great place to play hockey, to coach, and a great place to live. He's like, no complaints. He loved it.
Germany was great. Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, Berlin was awesome. Beautiful city. I used to rent a bike every day and just bike around the city.
Europe, just
good for the legs.
Yeah. Just unfortunately, my family was home, so I was just kind of cruising around. And
that was going to be my next question. So they weren't with you in Germany?
No, they stayed. They went home.
How old were the kids at that point?
My oldest, I think, was probably 10.
Okay.
10, 7, and 3, probably right around there, I guess.
10, 7, and 3.
Yeah.
So, like, in your NHL/AHL career, how much do you think your 10-year-old soaked in? Because back then, maybe they.
Yeah, I think Landon. I think he
like
probably
8?
Remembers the most. Like, I would bring him to the rink whenever I could. He'd be around the locker room at the Islanders.
That's awesome.
He would remember vaguely.
Yeah.
The other two guys probably not as much.
Interesting. So, do you ever ask Landon, like, what do you remember?
No, not really.
No?
Kind of talking about what he's got going on.
He's lucky enough right now. He's living his own little dream. He's playing in the OHL. He's with the London Knights. So he's hopefully on his way to something great too, but we'll see.
That's a perfect segue. The London Knights scenario. Because obviously, you're from here and you think your only option is the Q, right? But there's obviously some sort of clause there, and I believe it's if you played in the OHL, or your father or your family or something like that, I believe it is.
Yep.
You can do that. So how does that come about?
Well, it's actually when the Memorial Cup was here in Halifax.
Yep.
I went down to the Memorial Cup to watch, and I ran into a couple buddies of mine. That one was a scout for Chicago, and he was with me in Sarnia.
Okay.
As our PR guy, kind of our everything, right? The guy the players always went to, and we just got talking. He goes, I actually think there's a rule that if you play in the OHL, your kids can.
Okay.
And I said, no way. just because I had a great experience in the OHL.
Yeah.
And so what I did, I made some calls. I called around. No one really knew. So I just picked up the phone. I called Dave Branch myself.
The commissioner.
Yeah. I called Dave and I said, hey, Dave, not sure if you remember me, but John Sim, oh yeah. I'm still trying to get you out of my head. Right? So Dave told me the situation, and I was like, oh, that's unbelievable. Thank you very much. We'll be back in touch if we decide to go this route. And it was a lot of talking with Landon, a lot of, what do you think?
So he's probably 15 when you're having that conversation, 16?
Yeah, he was draft year. He was playing midget for the Weeks. And and a few guys came in and talked to him about the OHL, and he made a decision that he wanted to go there.
That was my next question. Was it obviously because you could tell him everything that you went through, but did you leave it up to him at the end of the day? And that's a big decision for a 15-year-old man.
It's a big decision. He could have been playing out here in the Quebec League, and for
staying
him
close
to
to
leave,
home.
it was big, and obviously going to London Knights we were thrilled. Mark Hunter and I were friends, and
it's the London Knights.
It's the London Knights. It's
come on,
10,000 people a night. It's really cool.
The NHLers through the roof. It's not a bad scenario to be in at all.
It's not a bad scenario, and it's a lot of fun when I get to go up to watch, and I'm happy for them, and hopefully keep going.
That's awesome, man.
That's great. How are they doing this season right now? Do you know? Well, obviously
they're second in their conference.
Okay.
So I think they have about 9 games left.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. They get into the playoffs, obviously, and hopefully they can make a long run.
Did he come home during COVID, or was he up there? How did that whole thing work in the OHL?
Shut down. So the OHL didn't shut down at all. They just kept playing. There was no fans in the building and things like that, but they kept going.
Yeah.
That would be weird in a place like London, no? I mean, I know it's weird in every rink, but in a place that sells out every night and their fans, it'd be like, when the Islanders don't have any fans in the building. It's a big difference, right?
It is a big difference. I went up when there was no fans.
Okay.
I was there, and it was not the same.
Especially where you've gone through so many, rinks and emotions and atmospheres and all that stuff over your career. It's just weird, right?
Yeah, but they're still kids. They're still playing for their dream. They all know this. That's the one thing. They knew the scouts were there because that's all they could see.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
So the kids, they put more pressure on the kids because you look at a place like London, the scouts all sat across the way. And you could see 50, 60 scouts sitting up there, and you're trying to play. So.
Bunch of peacoats and clipboards. You're just like, oh boy, the pressure's on.
Trench coats.
100%.
Yeah.
At what point of your career did you realize, maybe I got a little teaching, coaching act in me? Maybe I might get into this. Give back. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I think as I played, as you get older, my last 2 years, I went back and played in the American League. And you kind of just take on the responsibility of being an older guy and trying to help the younger kids. And I really enjoyed that part of it, and helping. The 1 year I back to Adirondack and played for the Flyers farm team again. And there was some nice young kids coming up and just helping them try to be pros. And then I went back to Bridgeport the next year. And then when I came home, my kids were playing. And I really wanted to help my kids and let them try to experience the same things that we did.
Yeah.
I did growing up.
Yeah.
And so I said, the only way to do that is the coach.
Yeah.
And so I jumped in, and here we are.
It's probably a natural transition for you. It's like, even if you don't want to coach, it's just your being. You've known hockey your whole life.
And you love it.
It's just in you to go, bend your knees, put your ass a little lower.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
chip it, but why are you going chip it? It's just in you.
Yeah, no,
you know?
it really is. And again, it comes back to, I love the game, and it's fun to be around, and to see kids go from here to here in a year, and now you're seeing kids go from here to here as you work with them in hockey schools and things like that. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Very rewarding feeling, eh?
It is. It really is.
And I'm not speaking from experience. I'm just saying for you, like, that's got to be, you have these kids come through your organization, or even your own kids, and they make the next level. Even if they don't make the NHL, you can tell that something you taught them was instilled there at some point, right?
Hard work.
Yep. The same way.
Yeah, there you go.
That's got to be the slogan for your hockey camp, isn't it?
It's hard work.
Hard work.
The same way.
Do you think your message like your style of game back then, it might not be the most popular style of game now? Do you find it's kind of hard to maybe teach some of your skill sets to the average player right now?
Now, I was a skilled player.
I know you were. I'm not saying you weren't, but I'm saying
the game is me now.
I'm just rating my own pod.
I had 56 goals in the Open.
Yeah, that's right.
2 years in a
90
row.
some
I'm not
points.
saying that. I'm just saying the average player going to the NHL is not going to get there on skill. It's through grit, hard work, and doing the right things.
The one thing
Most kids don't want to do that.
The one thing I learned when I was playing in the National Hockey League, and to play in the National Hockey League, I had to change my game. I had to change from being a skilled player to being a hard-nosed, rugged, greasy.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh,
most
yeah.
kids don't want to do that.
Yeah.
They don't-
I'm not saying
or they
most
can't
kids.
change their game.
I'm not a coach, but from what I hear.
As a coach, you try to put kids in different situations where they can maybe adapt to that.
Okay.
Right? So if you're a skilled player, well, hey, you got to get the puck out too. Like, you just can't play a skilled game.
Yeah, true.
Right? So you kind of try to teach them, different positions and things like that as well. But, I think as you become a pro, if not too many Mitch Marners out there where you're just going to be a skilled player. You have to find a way to adapt your game and change for the game, the National Hockey League.
If you want to stay, too.
If you want to stay.
Right? Because some guys, they ask you to mold, and you can't. Like, if you can't be a bottom six guy, then you're not, and you can't be a top six guy, then there's no spot for you now.
There's no spot. See you later, right?
Exactly.
So that's one thing Bob Gainey said to me. He's like, listen, you're a good player, but it's easy to play one game.
True.
Can you get in the door and shut the door behind you? And that was my struggle. Early.
Interesting. I like that.
I would get in the door, but the door would never close, and I'd get in and get pushed back out. Right. So until I changed, just like what you're talking about, until I changed my game and said, okay, I might have to play on the bottom two lines, and then maybe get some gravy here and there the second, maybe touch the first once in a while, right? And so then that's when the door closed for me.
Once you realized, and once you figured that out.
I'm a skilled guy, but you got to do other things to play in the National Hockey League.
100%.
So then that's how you started out your career, with all your teeth, and then probably getting in the bottom six
Oh,
there.
yeah,
You had to
yeah.
muck it out, and you lost it, right? Hey, adapt.
How'd you get this scar right here?
Mark Bell.
Mark Bell.
Yeah, he's like 6'3". It
What
was
were you?
actually a funny
What?
story.
Yeah, perfect.
Playing in Atlanta, he was with San Jose, and we just made a bunch of trades. Like, we traded for like Walt Kachuk, and we had some guys come in. We thought we were gonna make a push.
Bobby Holik.
And we're lined up. We're down like 4-1 after in the first period. I'm going, man, I got to do something here to change the. I said to Mark, Belzy, do you want to go? And as soon as he said this, I should have skated away. He goes, are you serious? I was like, oh shit, here we go. So puck drops, and I was doing pretty good. Like, we were throwing pretty good. And then I thought the fight was over, and he hit me with an uppercut. Then he come back down through and.
How many stitches?
Oh, there was a lot, but I got a plate and 4 screws there, and surgery that night.
That's why the Wi-Fi's acting weird.
Yeah, eyeballs like this, and so yeah, that's one mistake I made.
Oh boy.
But
But I showed up.
I was gonna say that's the main thing, and the second thing was, did it spark the fellas?
No, actually, we lied. They scored. Like,
Scored
right
6
away.
right out.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry I brought that up.
I should have just looked at my fellow Maritimer, Eric Bolton. And said, hey, you go do this.
This is technically your job.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
But that's that adaptability, right? Like you recognize that you needed a spark. Maybe it didn't work, but coach isn't gonna go, what an asshole. Why would he do? Like. That's adapting to the game on the fly.
That's adapting to the game, and sometimes you win them.
Yeah.
In my case, you lose more than you win.
How many fights do you think you've been in?
I don't know, 15, 16,
Okay,
17,
so
I don't know. Too many?
You got us beat by about 40 then, because we're in the negatives.
I got a question for you. So when you it's usually when it's brothers, but in the NHL, if you have like a brother on the other team and you get a picture with them at warm up, and that's kind of a thing that's like happening now. Back in your era, I don't know if that really happened back then.
Sticks.
So I was gonna ask if you and Colin White ever had a photo together in opposite jerseys, like during a warm up.
No, geez, no.
No?
Geez,
But it's a
we
fair.
weren't allowed to look at each other.
That's what I was going to ask.
But, like,
too.
but you know
what? Was the GM of the New Jersey.
You weren't even allowed to have
Devils,
facial
He's
hair.
and he's the GM of the Islanders now.
Yeah. So,
clean
we
shaven.
never did anything like that. But there was one really cool picture when we lost in 2001 to the Devils in the handshake. Someone took a picture of Colin and I.
Sick.
And
I have that picture actually
Do you?
at home, yeah.
Yeah, I have it at home too. Colin has it at home. I have it up at my house. It's a really cool picture. I wish my helmet was off and his was on, but it's a really cool picture.
Sick.
But that stuff we weren't built like that either. We were always built like
It's a different game,
yeah.
man. Let's be
Yeah.
real. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
The game's different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like-
I mean, Instagram and things like that. I mean, you would ask me 2 years ago, I probably would have been like, I can't stand that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But you kind of, just like you say, you got to
Adapting.
adapt to the game now, and that's what the kids want.
Yeah.
The kids want this stuff. And
Prime example.
We're not going to do anything to change it, and like we're not in the game anymore. Like it's just go for it, have fun.
yeah, exactly. Once the puck drops, then it's
hockey, right?
different game.
Big time. I had a great question lined up.
Couldn't
Just
even
forgot
ask
it. Well, I did. Do you have a picture of you with the cup? We were looking for one online. We couldn't find one.
Yeah,
You got one?
I got a couple at home.
Do you have one on your phone by any
I
chance?
don't think I do. Have my phone.
He doesn't carry that around with him, man. Everybody knows. You don't need to show people, right?
Yeah, here's the question. You talk about preparation for the game. That's one thing you really like to hone in on. What was your preparation for a game?
I was old school, guys. I mean, like a lot of kids go play soccer, and I used to grab a coffee and go into the training room and watch TV.
Love it.
I always one thing I always did though, I always taped my sticks every game. Before the game, I would tape. We always had 3 sticks going, so I would tape my sticks. I would always do new laces for every game.
No, every game.
Every game.
Really?
Was that a superstition, or was that I just like that tightness?
Just because I could.
I'm making you pay for these.
Yeah.
No, it was honestly, I like the feel of new laces in my skates. So
Interesting.
I don't know where it came from,
But you
but I
roll with it.
started doing it, and so after every pregame skate, I would take the laces out of my skates, undress my sticks, so that would give me something to do when I got to the rink. I'd get to the rink, I'd tape my sticks, I'd do my laces, I'd grab a coffee, I'd go bug the trainers, right? Like I wasn't the guy that liked to jump around and.
Yeah.
I had to spend so much energy on the rink. I didn't want to spend it.
You want to
doing
waste
other
it.
things,
Yeah.
right? So I like shooting the shit with the trainers, and especially when I was in New York. Scott Boggs, he's a good Halifax guy too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I played for the Halifax Lions in Junior A,
Yeah.
and we got all the old Islanders gear. I probably wore your jersey at one point.
I'm not that old.
No, this was like 2010, 2011, and I didn't know who the trainer was, but our trainer, Breaker.
Oh yeah, Breaker.
You know Breaker?
Oh, who
Everyone
doesn't
knows
know Breaker?
Yeah, okay, so
my 2 brothers played for the Olin Exports, and Breaker was their trainer.
it was my trip.
that's
He's been around. If you go back to like the pictures
Man.
of,
It's all making sense.
he's
now.
in every picture, every team
Oh,
picture.
yeah.
The middle of the form,
He
it's
looks the
him.
same, too.
Yeah.
No, I know he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Breaker.
So that's what I did, and
Yeah.
then I have a coffee and shoot the shit with Boggsy, and
That's wicked. Where's he living at? What is he, Boggsy?
he's still in New York.
Is he?
Yeah. He's
Interesting.
Still with the Islanders.
Does he come here in the summer? Where does
He comes home once in a while.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
You know, I just want to give up too much info. About
Yeah, what's his
man.
number? Yeah. I got a great
No,
question.
I was going to
lined
go
up.
with the preparation, but you go ahead.
I got best like amenities. Is that the word?
Amenities,
Like the
yeah.
best, like you're on the plane. You got the best meal, like the best
Scenario.
I don't want to say service because you don't want to say it like that, but you know what I'm trying to say. What was the best?
You know what? So we'll talk about that. Like I always liked. There was a restaurant called the Capitol Grill.
Where?
It's a steak restaurant, and if there was one Capitol Grill in a city when we were on the road, I always liked to go to it.
So it's like an American chain type
Yeah,
thing.
like an American steak joint, and I would always try to go to a Capitol Grill. I like their steak. I like their appetizers. Some pretty good wine.
Oh yeah, but what about like on the plane? Like, what was
On
the
the plane?
Like,
I mean, after games, they'd always feed you steaks.
you get steaks.
Yeah. Oh, they feed you everything.
They got to keep you moving, man.
Professional
Preparation, right?
athlete.
As soon as you're done.
Like the big thing that you miss when you're done playing is the pregame meals. Like just say we're in Boston and we go to the hotel before our nap. Like the amount of food there is for the pregame meal is crazy. You got steak, salmon, pasta, chicken breast, everything.
Yeah, all health.
Ice cream. It's crazy.
ice cream at a pregame?
Some guys tick differently, right? Like one guy, if they get word of one guy wanting ice cream pregame, then it's now in part of the menu, right? Like, that's just how it goes. Especially if that guy's doing well. Like if the guy's eating ice cream and he's terrible, then you're not gonna.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go.
I guess so.
But I feel like there's not too many teams or systems that aren't gonna treat you like that. You know what I mean? Like
I've heard stories.
Everyone treats it like that now.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's shocking.
Okay.
I think junior teams are doing a great job now of doing the same thing, with nutrition and things like that. It's important. Like you can't go to fast food and eat before a big game.
Well, it's not going to translate into energy either, right?
Yeah.
But now the information's there and it's there for everybody. That's the difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Because before it's like, I can't get the same training the NHL guys do. I don't know anything, right? But
and I'm big like my house. Like if we're coming into playoffs and big games, you try to eat really healthy and good all week so the kids can have lots of energy.
And that's good in Stillman too, like for them later in life. That's going to
kids.
translate later, right? Like I noticed things that my old man told me, and at that age, you're thinking, I'm not going to remember this.
Yeah.
But now it comes into play, right? And it's the same thing with food and stuff like that. Preparation, right?
Big time.
Preparation.
Yeah. Preparation is huge. And
Look at this before you got here. Look at this. We were good to
that's
go.
great.
What's
I
that
know.
saying?
I walked in. I thought you were just gonna have a video camera.
We left after the second period because we're like, no, we got to make sure. Like, it is
Preparation.
everything. Like we're joking, but it's everything.
Yeah.
Preparation's everything. Take care of yourself and so you can perform at the highest level.
Yeah.
What's that saying? It's like when preparation meets opportunity, greatness happens, or something like that, or it's something like that.
I like that.
Every time I hear the word preparation, that's the one thing that comes in my head.
That's a great slogan. That's awesome.
Right.
You don't have to answer this. If you want to, go for it. Biggest waste of money you've ever spent? What was something you just like, I didn't need to buy that?
After you're all
you got an NHL paycheck. You're like, I didn't need that Sea-Doo. Like, what was it?
Jeez, I was pretty careful. I haven't really bought probably like a dinner or something. I probably
Just got extra horned up for.
Stupid at a dinner somewhere and be like, what was I doing?
Being a big dog, though.
Oh
right?
yeah, big dog. Real big dog, right? So I haven't really bought anything outrageous like
You're
that.
good with it?
Yeah.
Well, he's got kids, man.
Yeah.
Those are
where
expensive enough.
that, like, you think of professional athletes and like some of them, they're not good with their money. Where did your like loyalty to the money and your ground foundation come with that?
Well, my dad was a banker and things like that. So, my brother's an investment guy.
That's
so.
pretty much all you need to say.
Yeah.
I did have a boat when I was playing.
Yeah.
Then when I retired, I gave it up and I kept my Sea-Doo and things like that. But
You did have a Sea-Doo.
Yeah, but the boat was great because we had a young family. And it was our way to get out and go on the boat, get on the water, and spend time with the family.
You can provide that for your family. Why not?
Yeah.
It's funny that you said you got rid of the boat after you retired.
Well, then we got into hockey camps and hockey.
True, and the
schools,
kids are getting older.
The kids were getting older, and they didn't want to hang out with dad anymore. And, right?
What?
So it was, you transition into life.
Real life.
Yeah,
and that's what it is. And it's not saying that NHL is not real life, but it's kind of goes back to what we said earlier about how people forget that you're human, right? Like it's an entertainment thing, and they're like, "What do you mean John Sims not playing tonight? What do you mean he's injured?" Like, it's because stuff happens.
Yeah.
But that's crazy.
You good? I got a question. What's the goal for this weekend being down here in Wolfville? What are you trying to accomplish? What are you doing?
Well, I'm here just to watch some good high level players and see if there's anyone capable of playing professional.
Okay. Who are you scouting for?
With the St. Louis Blues.
Wow.
So
how long have you been with them?
Just for like a year.
Where was the connection there? Who brought you on board?
So Doug Armstrong was the GM in Dallas.
Okay.
Now he's GM of St. Louis. And last year during the pandemic, there wasn't a whole lot going on, but the Q was still playing. So I reached out to Doug, and he thought it'd be a good fit, and here we are today.
Do they give you like an assignment of players to look for,
No.
or do they just trust your judgment?
They trust your judgment. And
Yeah.
So what's the first thing you're looking for right off the bat? You walk in the rink. Do you look for a guy's, I want to say personality, but maybe like body language? Are you looking for puck skills? What's the first thing you
those
normally
things all
notice?
come into play. I mean, body language is huge, right?
Big time.
You're looking for skill, skating. Skating's huge right now in the National Hockey League, right? Like,
Yeah.
You can't skate, you
Can't play, yeah.
So, skating, skill, energy,
True.
work ethic.
I figured
right.
that would have been the first one for you.
Work ethic.
It's hard to tell right away, though, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to tell. And it was kind of, players that stand out. They do things, and then they do them consistently.
See, it's
Right.
different for you looking at it too. Like someone on the outside say they didn't. I don't know if there's any of these opportunities, but if you're a scout who hasn't really played a high level, like little things like you were just explaining, they pop out to you right away. Guys that are standing out, wow, what a nice play on the wall. Ooh, good low support, that kind of stuff. Like those are hockey IQ things that you would be able to recognize right away, but maybe guys like us maybe wouldn't, right?
Yeah, just little things, and that's what it's easy to translate into this. So, but again, I love doing it because it helps you listen to other scouts when we're on our calls, and you bring those into your hockey schools and just skill stuff.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're working on this kid needs to work on his skating. This will help him if he does this. Well, then, bang, I take it into my hockey schools. And
Yeah.
Work on it with them.
And you nip that in the butt right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you like to talk to any of the players here, or you keep your distance?
No, you won't talk to anybody.
Just keep your distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows that from playing too, right? Especially in a big tournament like
Yeah,
this.
but if the big thing about players now is good people.
Yeah.
Organizations want good people. They want people that are
Easy to work with.
easy to work with.
And they're
Yeah.
not going to get any backlash from them, stuff like that, right?
Every time we did 2 podcasts with Steiny, and now he hit that on the head every time. It's like, yeah, I'm not scouting anyone that isn't a good person. First of all, it's like I don't care if they're great. It's like you got to be a good person in order to come play for me.
They even
Bottom
ask about
line.
your parents and stuff now too,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
They want to
yeah.
meet your
ask about
family
everything.
and
They ask about everything, and it's those are really important. You want good people in your organization, and good people. That's
you
everything.
don't want that baggage, right?
Yeah,
Because there's
exactly.
lots of that too.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
100%.
but that's
Oh, yeah.
in anything. It's not just hockey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I wanted to ask about your season this year with the Bombers. How's everything going? What are you looking forward to? Is it play? What we live streamed a game yesterday? That was regular.
Regular season, yeah. We
Yeah.
actually got shut down a couple times for COVID, so we actually have 2 games left on the weekend.
Yeah.
But we have a really good team. We have lots of depth on our team. Everyone can play the game really good at a high level. Again, we have some high end kids. We have some really good skilled players. So
Yep, definitely.
That really helps. Just looking forward to get into playoffs, then hopefully into provincials.
That's all. Where are provincials at for you this
They're
year?
in Truro.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're not doing that.
it's closer to your
Yeah,
hometown.
but that's
Yeah, it's close to hometown. And
Yeah.
what I think, it's going to benefit our guys by just getting to their own beds.
That's very true, man. That's a big thing that you don't consider.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about the hotel. and-
Some guys flourish with the hotel.
Oh yeah, it's fun in the hotels, but for something like this, if you can get to your own bed,
yeah. That's your trick in New York.
man.
You get your own bed.
Home
You're
cooked
good to
meal.
go.
it goes a long way though.
Home
guys.
cooked meal, that kind of
Home cooked
stuff.
meal and
100%.
Dad giving you the gears about how you played and that kind of stuff, right? Makes you feel right at home.
Yeah.
Must be nice for the kids too, just to be able to play in playoffs and have somewhat of a regular. I know there was a little bit of a shutdown, but just to have a season that's going to go on to playoffs because that didn't happen last year. It must be nice.
Yeah, all minor hockey is great that they extended, and now we're everyone's going to do provincials and playoffs and Day of Champions and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then into spring hockey. Our spring hockey is going to get up and going here soon, which is great. So
Yeah.
really looking forward to the spring. So
Awesome.
365 hockey for the Sim family, man.
That's your 365.
No, that's
What?
just.
Oh, I thought that was the name of the camp.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
oh, 365.
exactly.
Yeah.
We're pretty busy into it.
Awesome. Well, I'm good on questions. I think.
I'm going to finish off with
Oh,
one
you
question.
you give her.
Should that goal have counted in the crease, Brett Hall?
I got a ring at home that says it does.
Man, that was the response I was looking for, so thank you very much.
Oh, wait, you said when you went in Germany there was 5 inches of beer on the floor in the room. Well, how much beer was on the floor? And was it in Dallas when you won?
We were in Buffalo.
We were in Buffalo.
Even better.
We had to fly out that night, so I remember.
Oh.
It was a long couple days.
I can't imagine why.
Couple months, really.
Yeah, but you'd be living on that high for a long time. You
Yeah,
know
it
what I
was
mean?
pretty
So,
cool. It was great. Then the next year we lost in the finals, but still, just to go through that was so cool.
Yeah, it's cool. And you have all these stories and memories, man, and you got to share some of them with us, and we appreciate that for sure.
You'll have to come back on the podcast back in the city in Halifax. Come to the studio. We'll get some more stories out of you. But John, we appreciate you coming.
Seriously,
Thanks
man.
a lot, guys. Anytime.
Awesome. All right, everyone listening, thank you very much for tuning in. It's
Thursday.
Well, this is coming out tomorrow, so it's Friday. Work hard, have fun, enjoy the weekend. Put your feet up, watch some hockey. We're out. Peace.